welcome. Tell us exactly what is it that you did, your name. Well, you don't have to mention your age.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we have Saya. Saya is was a compliance officer with Toyota, and she's here to share her experiences with us, what her journey was like, how she was molded into understanding the Toyota way, and basically any other contribution she can share with us today. Saya, welcome for joining us.
Thank you so much, Chris. My name is Saya. I got into the dealership industry when I was early in my 20s. When I was still a university student, I started working for one of the dealerships in Mississauga, and it was great. And I stayed there for a total of 4 years or so.
Okay.
And I'm doing completely something different right now, but I still think about it, and I'm still a customer in one of the dealerships I worked for. And my title was process improvement coordinator, but that had a lot of meanings to it. I did all sorts of data, not management, but like I collected data.
Right.
I responded with the president, parts manager, service manager. I was in sales for a bit. So
okay,
as an outsider who wasn't in the industry for a long time, I was probably able to understand a lot of the process of the dealership, which kind of can get neglected sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So is there anything should I
Well, you have to elaborate some more, because that's a very long title. From my understanding, what you did was you were recording the processes based on how each department will intertwine with each other. And then from the moment the potential customer comes through the door, buying a car, taking the car back to servicing, coming back for parts, anything else to do with the dealership, then you will document those processes as you go along. So what was that like? When it first came to you, what was your understanding at first?
Okay, so when I talked to, I was looking for a summer job when I was in second year university, like after second year, and then I happened to go into, I was able to get a job as a process improvement coordinator intern kind of thing from a student. And I was like, what is that?
Yes.
So I talked to the president, who had the huge vision.
Yes.
But as a CEO and president, it's very hard to, I guess, make that work unless you trust your employees and then guide them through.
Right.
So what the president did was guide me through from the very, very, very beginning, which nobody knew what was happening. So that was the hardest, because I'm new in the industry, and I think he appreciated that I was new, because I was able to see how the dealership was working.
Right.
So we had the fresh eye, I guess. But I had nothing, like I have no knowledge. So I had to learn all about servicing, parts, and everything. But what I did first was, we wanted to know the current situation. So the president wanted to, I guess, improve our processes and implement lean system, which is the derivative of Toyota production system.
Okay.
And a lot of manufacturers use that process.
Right.
But it was probably unheard of in Canada at that time, especially in Ontario, to use that lean system into service industry.
Right.
People consider service industry as something that you cannot control. Customers kind of control the process, and we just stay there and then cater to them.
Right.
But there are so many variables in the service department. I know. So the first of all, what I did was to understand what was going on in the service department. So the very beginning of the work I did was I literally had a stopwatch.
Okay.
I literally had a stopwatch. And then as soon as a customer comes in with his or her car, I start the stopwatch. And I had like, I don't know, 120 columns of things that they do since they step into the dealership to they're stepping out of the dealership.
Right,
and
right.
How long it takes, how many seconds does it take for a service advisor to get to from point A to B?
Right.
These kind of things are done usually in manufacturing, field or plant.
along the production line.
Production line, yes. That's right, like Toyota production system. So it was very hard for these people who are working on the floor to adjust or understand what I was doing, because they felt like they were criticized or being implicitly told that what they're doing is not good enough.
Good enough, yeah.
Right. But we don't know what to improve unless we know what we're doing.
Exactly. And you were doing at that time is time management, right?
Time management.
Yeah.
How long it takes. And for some people, it's a daunting thing to go to the dealership. Nobody wants to be like, yo, I want to get my car fixed. I want to wait in the dealership for 2 hours and have a good time.
Yeah.
So our ultimate goal was to get rid of all the waste that we have, whether it be time, people's movement, the money that dealership spends, customers spend.
Yeah.
Just provide the best quality service in a short period of time.
Yes.
Which is very challenging. And I remember I was talking to technicians, service advisors, parts department. Nobody knew what I was doing.
Right.
Because, and I didn't even know. I didn't really know. I knew the president's vision, but I didn't really know what
But it's because the communication wasn't passed down from the president to everybody else, and that would have been a frustrating task to see a stranger coming in, standing around with a clipboard and and a time watch and looking over their shoulders. So they are going to feel intimidated.
Yeah, and I was this 22, 23-year-old, right?
Yes.
And people had 30 years, 20 years of experience. And they had their own community, and someone like new came in, no surprise. And I understand that. But it was very hard for me because I know it was my job.
Yeah.
But I had to talk to people. And then the people are like, it's not going to work. And I'm like, well, I'm hired to do this, so you got to believe me, but I don't have the credentials to tell them that it may or may not work.
Right.
So it's very challenging. But, and the president told me that it's going to take a long time for this to improve.
Yeah.
But let's have a 5-year vision, or how many years of vision he had, I don't remember, but let's do it.
Yeah.
So we often talked with upper management, and it wasn't my job to communicate so that president and the people at the front line would, again, it wasn't really my job, but I tried my best to really communicate.
Yeah, you had to be that bridge to open the communication gap. Yeah,
that was very hard. I
can imagine.
That's when I realized that I was able to communicate with a lot of different people from different backgrounds and different views.
Yes, different ethnicity. As you know, Toronto is a melting pot for diversity. So I can imagine, you have to learn the different cultures, how to gain their trust. Yes. Yep.
And sometimes I'm like a young female, so I had a hard time like communicating with like 30-year-old technician, not 30-year-old,
With 30-year experience, 30-year experience.
Like this little girl is telling me to do this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I think we connected in a deeper level.
Right.
Like we're like friends, but I had a duty and then they had their job. So I think overall, it was good. I have a good positive experience in terms of communicating with everyone.
Yeah.
So going back to what I was doing, it was trial and error, really. This lean system implementing for service industry is extremely hard. And I think 80% or 90% of the companies that implement this fail, even for manufacturing.
Really?
Because, it's majority of them fail because people don't want to stick with it. And then change is hard.
Yes.
And as an organization, you always want to go back to
what worked for you. Yeah.
For you. But in terms of the industry's future, I think this was very necessary. Implementing this like this system was very necessary because now when I go as a customer, I just love going there because I used to work there and then I know everyone. But I trust in the process, and I trust that process allows people to do their best work. It's not 100%, fun, but I go in, I book my appointment, they call me back. So much better than before. Yeah. And people have their opinions, yes, but I feel like as a customer, I'm wowed every time I go.
You go there. Okay. So the lean system is working there. And because you were intimately involved in the process when it just started, you have a greater understanding of what to expect and what the outcome would be. But if you don't mind sharing some of that secret, what exactly is the lean system?
Okay, so the lean system is I think developed by someone in MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and that used Toyota Production System, where I don't know, I forgot a lot about it, but Toyota Production System is a manufacturing system that allows people to use this process to make vehicles, Toyota vehicles. Yeah. And then lean is the derivative of that. So essentially lean means that you're going to trim all the fat. Yeah. All the fat. And then produce the best product or service without putting too much time, too much money, and too much effort. Yeah. So if I were to apply that to service industry, less waiting time. Yeah. Less waiting time, less movement on technicians and apprentices, less confusion, less paper, fewer papers, overall smarter system so that people can do what they're meant to do instead of arguing with people or talking about processes with people or apologizing to your customers. Yeah. So it sounds really cool, but doing it involves the entire organization. Someone like me who's actually doing the little work, and then the people who are already working there. So people need to be open-minded to a certain degree. Yeah. Gotta trust the process, and trusting the process is one of the things that we tried really hard. But unless you see the outcome, it's very frustrating. Yeah. Very frustrating. Yes. Right? And the lean system doesn't have that much, like, you need to do this, you need to do this. There is a framework. Yeah. But you need to try yourself because every individual, every organization is different. Yeah. So it's kind of vague that I'm talking about, but when I first started it, I realized that people were waiting for hour and a half for an oil change and tire replacement.
Yeah.
But when I use the time watch, a time stopwatch, and actually calculated the time that technicians were touching the tires, apprentices were touching the tire, it's literally like 13 minutes.
Wow. Right? Because a customer, when they come in, they're going to ask the main question, how long is this going to take? And if you can tell them that, look, your oil change is going to take 10 minutes, they expect it in 10 minutes. And if you can give them in 10 minutes, that customer is sold for life.
That's right. Right. And then lean system doesn't have this extravagant stuff that we need to put in. It's very small, very cheaply done. It can be cheaply done. And then the outcome is huge. So return on investment from business point of view is very big if they can do it. And then if they fail, I guess they don't lose a lot. But they might lose customers.